With the release of GPT-4o came an amazing new interface for data analysis in ChatGPT. You can now edit charts live, interact with your data, and you overall get a much cleaner aesthetic when it comes to viewing data and interpreting it within ChatGPT. In this video, I'm going to give you a full data analysis guide in ChatGPT so that you know how to use it best with this new GPT-4o model. And honestly, guys, this could replace Google Sheets and Excel in the future. I don't think it's quite there yet, but that's where it's moving. The power of GPT-4o in this new model, mixed with these new data analysis integrations in the new interface, is just such a pleasant experience. That's why I'm going to show you how to use it in this video, how to work around some of those new updates, and just show you the power of it. Now, if you love this video, then I know that you're going to love our private AI Foundations community that is just released. We have over 100 members. People are loving this. We just had a live call that lasted 2 hours today. We couldn't stop talking about artificial intelligence. We get this beautiful community, okay? People are in here typing all the time. We're talking about our favorite go-to AI tools. It's just the best community around, hands down. You will love it when you get here. Everyone is so friendly. And on top of that, what you get is a bunch of courses on artificial intelligence. You have a full large language model mastery where I go over data analysis in depth, and I show you ways to view many different charts, more than I'm going to show you in this video. And you also get an AI image generation course, an AI automation course where we're going over different automations in make.com. Overall, this community is the best place, and it will be your final stop for artificial intelligence. If that interests you, I will leave that in the link in the description or the top pinned comment below. I highly recommend it. Everyone who has joined has not regretted it so far. I guarantee this will be the greatest investment you've ever made because you're investing in the future tools of your life. All right, now let's get into the data analysis update with GPT-4o. Now, for starters, in this update, everyone actually has access to the data analysis feature now. Now, there are more limits when you're on a free account, but you don't need the Plus plan in order to get all of the benefits and to try this out and to have fun with it. You can now do it on the free plan, which is amazing with this GPT-4o update. Now, you might be wondering, first off, okay, why do I need to use the data analysis update? How do I use it? I don't even know where to get data sets in order to practice this. Well, if you're not a Google Sheets person or you're not an Excel person, you don't have rows and rows of data you need analyzed, but you do want to practice, then there's a couple of things that you can do. One thing is you can go to Kaggle.com. On Kaggle.com, they have a ton of different data sets that you can get. If you go to the Datasets tab, you can download and practice on a bunch of different topics. We have education topics in here. We have computer science topics in here. And these are just data sets that you can download and practice on. Or what you can also do is create data sets with ChatGPT. You can just say, create me a data set that is 100 rows or however many rows you want about social media posting and engagement. This can be really any topic, but I'm just showing you how you can actually generate data sets that you can use in order to practice. Then you can just put, so I can practice my data analysis. You can send that off, and it might ask you a few questions. You might have to work it out, but what you can really do is get a CSV file from ChatGPT, a mock fake data set that you can utilize in order to practice your data analysis in ChatGPT. Now, by no means am I a data expert, but I'm just a normal person who has figured out how to use this in order to generate some amazing things. So as you can see, in a couple of seconds, it gave me a bunch of post IDs. It gave me post dates that are arbitrary, post type, post content length, likes, shares, comments, impressions, engagement rate. And this is all just data that I can now hit this little download button right here, or I can expand the table. This is one of the parts of the update that is just amazing. You now have the ability to expand the table, which I'm going to get into all the updates in a second. But what you can do is you can download this table. I'm going to hit download table. And just like that, what it's done is it's downloaded as a CSV file that I can then upload and use later. Or what I can do is I can not expand that, and I can just ask to analyze this data as it posted up in here. But that's a way to get data sets. If you're struggling to find them, you can create them in seconds using GPT-4o. Next, I want to give you some foundational tips for data analysis in a large language model, such as ChatGPT, that have helped me along the way so that I don't get as many errors. Now, first, upload a data set. You can do that as I just showed you, or you can use existing data that you have from Google Sheets, Excel. I even exported my YouTube data and got some very interesting trends and found some very interesting things about my data with ChatGPT. But anyway, you can upload any data set. I'm going to hit this little link icon in the bottom left-hand corner of my prompt bar. I'm going to hit upload from computer. Yes, you have the ability to connect this to Google Drive now as well. And now I just have a datasets folder with a bunch of different datasets. And what you want to do first is you just want to upload a dataset. So I'm going to upload top 50 companies. I'm going to hit open. And before you start trying to generate cool charts, doing cool analysis or whatever, what you need to do first is make sure your data is cleaned and formatted. Somebody corrected me on this in the comments. They said I shouldn't use the word clean, but rather use the word format if I'm talking about data analysis, but I still like to use the word clean. It's what I found the LLM picks up on the easiest in order to do what I want. So I'm going to say clean and format this data if needed. Okay, that's all I have to say. Before I generate any charts, just have ChatGPT clean and format your data. I'm going to send off that prompt, and as you can see now, this is one of those new features. We have this beautiful table view of our data rather than having it be uploaded. And it says this data has been cleaned and formatted. Here are the key changes. Removed leading/trailing white space from the column names. Converted the revenue, profits, assets, and market value columns to numeric values for better analysis. So those two things are going to help mitigate the errors when we're generating charts. And it's going to help the charts be much cleaner than they were before. So step number one is always clean and format your data to ensure that there are no empty columns, errors, numeric things that need to be changed, columns that need to be reorganized in order to have it be analyzed. ChatGPT is the thing analyzing your data, so have it format it in the way that's best for its analysis. Now that we have all that boring stuff out of the way, we figured out how to make data sets, we figured out how to clean and format them, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's look at the ways that we can view our data with charts and visualizations in ChatGPT. Now, again, in my AI Foundations community that I've built with Productive Dude, I go over this a lot more in depth on the 5 ways to view data, and each one of those with different charts you can generate. As I said, a lot more in depth, but in this video, we're going to be taking a general look, a broad overview at how you can view your data. And by the end of it, you're going to have so many ideas flowing through your head, you're not going to know what to do with it. So way number one that you can view your data is by comparing it. And these charts are simple. Think of 2 factors, for example, revenue and country, or social media posts and likes. These are going to be your bar charts, your horizontal bar charts, your line graphs, your very basic things, but things that are so powerful, and the visualizations just look beautiful. So I can say, create me a bar graph for the top 5 companies based on revenue. So I'm really just comparing 2 factors here, companies and revenue. So there's nothing too special, but what you're going to see is a beautiful representation, now that the data has been cleaned, of what this might look like comparing the top 5 companies based on revenue. And this should be able to give us some interesting insights. As you can see, this new interface is so amazing for data analysis. We have different columns that we can choose, and they're labeled beautifully. We can expand this chart now so we can see a very interactive view of this data. We now have a nice download button that I can hit download. And if I collapse this chart and see this, I can open up this download, and I now have a beautiful picture that I can use, and it's pretty much ready to go. Now, another thing that you can do with these charts is once you expand it, hitting this little arrows icons right in the middle or right in the top right hand corner of that chart, once you expand that, what you can do is you have the ability to hit this little settings icon, and then you have different colors within the data set. Okay, so you can start changing the colors of each of these lines. For some reason, it's not showing each company as its own individual thing within the legend, but a lot of the time it does, and you'll have the ability to change the individual line. Now, for a bar graph, I do believe it's common practice to keep all the colors of these bars the same, but for things like pie charts, you can have the ability to actually change each color of the pie, which I will get into a little later. But this is the first way to view your data, is by comparing it. And you can do things like line graphs as well. You can come to some very cool conclusions. Now let me just show you what the old chart looks like. This is what the old charts used to look like, okay? Ugly. I am talking ugly. But this is what it looks like now. Just very, very sleek, very smooth, it's interactive, and I absolutely love it. Let's look at the next way that we can view our data in ChatGPT, and that is going to be showing parts of a whole. And the one chart that I have for this that I think represents it best is the pie chart. Now, I go over this a lot more in depth in the course, in the community below, but I want to just showcase how to create a pie chart within ChatGPT. So we're going to hop in, we're going to head over to my Datasets Google Sheet, where I have a ton of different datasets. And we're going to keep using this top 200 companies that I have been using throughout this entire video. And what I want to compare is countries to assets. And I want to see which are the top 5 countries that have the most assets under management based on the companies. So which companies have the most assets, and those companies are going to be added up to their respective country, making a top 5 country list. I hope that makes sense. Pretty confusing, but ChatGPT is going to dumb it down for us and explain it to us step by step. So once again, I'm going to start from the top this time. I want to upload that data set from my computer. I can just upload the top 50. I don't have to upload all 200. I can hit open, and once again, I'm going to clean and format this data. Since I did not download my other data set that was cleaned previously, I'm just going to clean and format this one once again, just so you can get that ingrained in your head that that's what you need to do. As you can see, we get this beautiful chart. It's going to clean and format this data to make the revenue exactly how it needs to be. And then we are going to generate that pie chart in order to show parts of a whole. As you can see, it said it cleaned the data, but when I look at the data, it has a lot of numbers in here, but how do I know that this is representing billion? I know all of them do represent billion since this is the top 50 companies in the world, but how do we make sure that we understand that? Well, that's what we can ask ChatGPT real quick. You can ask it questions about your data, a very natural process. It will make some mistakes. There's going to be some tweaks, but you can just ask it questions along the way, which is what makes it so powerful. How will I know the numbers represent billions? Okay, and I can send that off. And now it's added to the column a B, which represents billions. So now that I know that each of these is representing billions in that value, now I can go ahead with my data analysis. And what I can do is generate a pie chart using a very simple prompt. So I'm just talking like a human. I say create a pie chart showcasing the top 5 countries with the most combined assets from their companies in that country. I'm just going to send that off. And take a look at this. This is what I was talking about with this beautiful interactive pie chart. What you can do is you can hit this expand chart button so that you don't have to squint and go close to your computer screen and you can just see it. Now you have the ability to hover over it and check out the top 5 countries from this data set based on assets under management. So it looks like China is in the lead based on this list, US is second, Japan is third, United Kingdom is fourth, and France is 5th. And notice how it's giving the percentages as well. This is beautiful. I could have put an other category in here with all of the other countries as well, but this is amazing. It breaks it down in percentages, and as I was showing you earlier, we now have the ability to hit this little settings icon next to the download button, and we can actually change the colors of these pie charts. And not only does it give us a palette to select from, but it gives us a custom hex code selector that we can throw in the hex code of any color that we want and get it changed. So I could make it 0000000, have it be black. I could make it FFFFF, have it be white. It's just amazing what we can do with this now. And again, you can hit this little download button in order to download the chart. Let's move on to the next way that we can view our data, and that is viewing our data by seeing trends throughout our data that we may have missed. Now, this may seem simple by just looking at trends, but I want to show you a chart that I'm absolutely in love with because it shows you why the trend is happening. This is going to be a dual axis line graph, and I have a very simple data set that I want to show you, and just to show you the power of the dual axis line graph and how this is going to work. So what we have here is another data set. We have 12 months, January through December, and we have a company that maybe just tracks revenue and social media posts. So we could make a basic line graph of this company and the revenue that it's generating just to see how it's trending over time. I'm going to go back here, hit create a new chat in the upper left-hand corner, and then I'm going to hit the link icon in the bottom left-hand corner of the prompt bar, and I'm going to upload that sub-based platform data set. And first I'm going to ask to clean and format this data, even though there's not much to clean and format. I'm just going to ask it to clean and format the data just so I can maintain good practices. And now, as you can see, it's in here. Okay, so this is looking beautiful. We can expand this just like that. Quite amazing. Since the data set has been cleaned and formatted, what it looks like it did was changed the revenue to an actual revenue currency property rather than just having it be a number. And it's ensured consistent capitalization for column names, verified and corrected any potential inconsistencies. So beautiful, data is cleaned and ready to go. We can generate a basic trend, like a trend line. So I can say create a line graph showcasing revenue for this specific year. And we can get a general idea of where the trend is going. But maybe this is not enough data in order to see why it's happening. We have a bunch of ebbs and flows. We can see a general uptrend in the data, which is very nice for any company, right? We can see that it's making higher highs and lower lows. So we have a general uptrend going on here. But why the dip, right? Why do we go from 14,000 one month to sub 9,000 another month? What we can do here in order to view a trend and why it's trending the way it is by adding another factor to the chart. So let's make this a dual axis line graph. And if you remember right, within our data right here, we have another column for social media posts. This could be for a company, maybe they're posting on social media and they're just tracking how many times they post across all their socials. Let's add that to this chart and see if it has an effect on the revenue. So I could say, make this a dual axis line graph and add in social media posts on the second Y axis. So nothing crazy here. I'm talking like a third grader. I know my axes. I have the X axis and the Y axis, Y to the sky, X to the left or the right. And now I can just add this in, right? We have the data up here. It's clean and formatted. We have this chart. Let's just add in another denominator. So now I'm adding in the social media post to overlay on top of this. And that's why I called it a dual axis line graph, because we're going to be overlaying the two of them, seeing if they have any correlation to one another. So as you can see, it says interactive charts of this type is not yet supported. So it is still working through this. It is beta. But now you can kind of see what's happening in this data. And this is much better than it was before, actually. I like how it does it dotted, so you kind of can differentiate between the two. But now, as you can see, the green line is representing the social media posts, and it seems like these two are moving in harmony, which may indicate that when you post more on social media for this company in specific, then you actually make more money. But this would be another way to view your data as that dual axis line graph. Can't wait for the interactive charts to be supported for this one. Sometimes they are supported, sometimes they're not, so I think it is a little buggy, but you still get to expand it nicely and download it much easier than you could before. Now let's take a look at the final way that you can view your data that I'm going to be showing in this video, and that would be by viewing a data spread within ChatGPT. This is amazing. I love doing this one. I'm going to be utilizing a scatter plot for this, but you can also use violin plots, box plots, whatever you want. I go in depth on box plots, which are actually kind of complex to understand within this course, this small section here within the large language model mastery. And I also in here have another section called understanding relationships between things, where I use bubble charts and go in depth on the third dimension of data analysis. But with that being said, let's get into actually creating a scatter plot and understanding what that might be good for analyzing data in ChatGPT. Super excited to get into this one, so let's do it. First, I'm going to open up Google Sheets, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my sleep data, lifestyle, and professions. So what we have here are some categories. We have person ID, gender, age, occupation, sleep duration, quality of sleep, physical activity level, and it keeps on going on with the stress, blood pressure, heart rate. But what we have here is physical activity level and quality of sleep. What I want to do is I want to put these two up against one another in a scatter plot and see if we can see any trends between physical activity level and quality of sleep. When you exercise more, do you get better sleep? These are things that you can start tracking with your personal life. I have this ring right here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this ring tracks my sleep. It tracks my activity level. It tracks my stress, my readiness. And these are things that I can start importing into a Google Sheet and actually tracking for my personal life. You can also do this with a Fitbit, I'm pretty sure. It's quite amazing. You can connect it to MyFitnessPal, whatever you want to do. But ChatGPT is going to help you see what the trends in your life. Are you sleeping good? Are you having enough physical activity level on Saturdays, for instance, if you have enough data? When do you work the best? When do you get the most focus time in? Those are the things that I'm kind of focusing on when I'm doing my data analysis in ChatGPT, but also things like YouTube stats and just general information that's fun messing around with. But let's get into it. I'm going to upload this data set, sleep data and lifestyle professions, by hitting that link icon and then finding it within my datasets folder. So I'm going to upload that, hit open, and like I said, always clean and format this data if needed, okay? Always send up that prompt in order for ChatGPT to just get a feel for it so it knows what it's working with and also can help you clean it. Since it seems easy to clean, to ensure proper formatting, let's perform the following tasks. And it's kind of just running you through its checklist, which I've always loved when it uses its data analysis feature. It always is keeping you up to date with what it's doing. And as I said before, you can get a downloadable copy. You can download the cleaned table so that you can just upload it to your Google Sheets again. Maybe that's all you want to do is just clean your data. We'll hit that little download button at the top of the table and upload it to Google Sheets or Excel, whatever you use. It's pretty easy. But the data's been cleaned and formatted. Now we can start generating a scatter plot based on our 2 factors right here, quality of sleep and physical activity level. So I can say, create a scatter plot showcasing quality of sleep with physical activity levels. And so after I hit send, I mean, there's over 374 rows of data within this data set in specific. Yeah, okay, so this is beautiful, right? It has quality of sleep, physical activity level. It even plots it out for you. It kind of looks like a Star Wars game or Galaga or something, but this is very interesting to see. And you can kind of start seeing, is there any relationship between it? It doesn't really look like there's any big clusters, but what we can see is a small uptrend in the data. So the more physical activity level you have, generally the higher quality of sleep you have. From what I can see right now, I'm going to download this. I'm going to open it up. And as you can see, well, as you might not be able to see because it is kind of hard to view, but what you can notice from this data is, to me, it looks like the people that are down here at this section aren't getting as much sleep. But as their physical activity level goes up, it seems like there's a general uptrend in this data. That's what ChatGPT is helping you see. You can also find small clusters within the scatter plot in order to see, okay, maybe there's a sweet spot between getting this physical activity level and this quality of sleep, right? If there was a cluster like right here, then this might be a good spot to aim for because these are pretty peak achievers, right? They're super active, but they're also sleeping like kings and queens. So this is your goal to get here, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, anyway, this looks like a children's drawing now. So I'm going to hop off my screen and back to my face, just congratulating you on finishing this video because this is going to put you ahead of 90% of the people using ChatGPT. You start documenting your life, your work hours, your physical activity level, your sleep hours. You start taking in your stats, your personal stats, or your stats from work. Be careful uploading information that's private, though. You know, you're gonna have to get authorization from a higher up, or if you're the higher up, maybe you can make that decision yourself, but you are uploading information to the internet, so always be careful when you're doing that, especially if it's sensitive. But with that being said, congratulations on finishing this. This was a good video for you to see kind of the changes that GPT-4o had to make with the data analysis feature, and I am loving it. It's just so much more of an experience when using it. Now, again, if you want to learn AI, you want a loving community, then I highly recommend joining the AI Foundations community. Okay, this is a group that is going to be something special, and I realized that even more after we just got off our live call. Now, we have calls scheduled once a week that we just check in with the group, and we're also adding specialized calls for AI image generation, prompting with LLMs, and so much more. This community is going to be the foundation in your final stop for artificial intelligence, so I highly recommend you join. It's a very good learning environment. All right, with that being said, that's all I have for this video. Please subscribe and like and comment below if you did enjoy this video. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an upcoming upload, and I will see you in the next video. Much love.